Hi, Black Cat Recapped here. Today I am going to explain a drama movie named The Godfather. In the late summer of 1945, there was a wedding reception for Don Vito Corleone's daughter Connie and Carlo Rizzi. Don Vito, who is the leader of the Corleone Mafia family and is known as Godfather to his friends, was hearing requests for favors. This is because, according to Italian tradition, no Sicilian can say no to a request on his daughter's wedding day. One of the people who asked Don Vito for a favor was Amerigo Bonacera, a successful undertaker who knew Don Vito. His daughter had been badly hurt by two young men who were angry because she had rejected their advances. However, these men got away with a light punishment from the judge. Don Vito was disappointed in Bonacera because he had avoided getting involved with Don Vito due to his shady business dealings. Don Vito's wife was the godmother to Bonacera's embarrassed daughter, and Don Vito used this relationship to gain loyalty from the undertaker. Don Vito agreed to have his men punish the young men who had harmed Bonacera's daughter, but not to kill them, in exchange for future help if needed. At the same time, Don Vito's youngest son Michael, who had just returned from serving in World War II as a decorated U.S. Marine hero, arrived at the wedding with his girlfriend Kay Adams. He told her stories about his family and revealed his father's criminal activities. However, he reassured Kay that he was different from his family and didn't plan to get involved in their criminal business. This wedding scene was important because it introduced the main characters to Kay. Fredo, Michael's older brother, was a bit slow-witted and drunk at the party. Sonny, the Don's eldest child and the next in line to become the Don when his father retired, was married but was cheating on his wife with one of Connie's bridesmaids, Lucy Mancini. Tom Hagen was not related to the family by blood, but he was considered one of Don Vito's sons because he had been homeless when he met Sonny in Little Italy in Manhattan. Don Vito took him in, raised him, and educated him. Now Tom, who was not of Sicilian heritage, was being prepared for the important role of counselor to the Don, known as consigliere. Also at the party, there's a famous singer named Johnny Fontane, who is like a son to Don Corleone. He came from Hollywood to ask Don Corleone for help in getting a movie role that could save his fading career. The head of the movie studio, Jack Woltz, says no to Johnny, even though the part in the movie is perfect for him. But Don Corleone has a plan to make Woltz agree, saying, "I'll make him an offer he can't say no to." Don Corleone also gets congratulations from Luca Brazi, a scary guy in the criminal world. And there's a baker named Nazarene, who made Connie's wedding cake, and he asks Don Corleone to help his nephew Enzo become an American citizen. After the wedding, Don Corleone sends Tom Hagen to Los Angeles to talk to Woltz again. But Woltz is very angry, and still won't give Johnny the role. He's mad because Johnny had a relationship with a young actress that Woltz wanted to make a star. Woltz changes his mind when he wakes up one morning and finds his prize horse's severed head in his bed. This scares him into agreeing. When Hagen comes back, the family meets with a man named Virgil the Turk Sollozzo, who is supported by the rival Tattaglia family. Sollozzo asks Don Corleone for money and protection to bring drugs into the country. Don Corleone says no because it could ruin his political connections. His son Sonny, who had earlier supported the drug trade idea, starts to doubt Sollozzo's promises. But Don Corleone shuts him up and later scolds him in private. Don Corleone sends Luca Brazi to spy on Sollozzo's gang. During a meeting, Brazi is attacked and killed by Sollozzo's men. Shortly after meeting with Sollozzo, Don Corleone is shot at right outside his office. It's not clear if he's alive or not. Fredo Corleone was supposed to protect his father because the regular bodyguard, Paulie Gatto, called in sick, but Fredo isn't very good at it. He struggles with his gun and can't fight back. When Sonny hears that his father was shot and Paulie is missing, he tells Clemenza, one of his father's top guys, to find Paulie and bring him to the Don's house. Sollozzo kidnaps Tom Hagen and talks to him for a while, trying to get him to make the same deal with Sonny that he offered to Don Corleone. When Tom is let go, Sollozzo learns that Don Corleone survived the attack. He gets angry and tells Tom to convince Sonny to take his offer. Sonny is furious and refuses to even think about it. He gives the Tattaglia family, who support Sollozzo, an ultimatum: either give up Sollozzo or prepare for a big, violent, an expensive gang war. They say no and send Sonny a message in a Sicilian way, by putting 2 fresh fish in Luca Brazi's bulletproof vest. This tells the Corleone family that Luca Brazi is dead. Clemenza later takes Polly and one of the family's hitmen, Rocco Lampuan, for a drive into Manhattan. On their way back, Clemenza has Polly stop the car in a remote area so he can pee. Rocco shoots and kills Polly, and they leave him and the car behind. Michael, who the other Mafia families see as not involved in mob business, visits his dad at a small private hospital after dinner with Kay. He's surprised to find no one guarding his father. A nurse tells him that some men were causing problems and were asked to leave by the police about 10 minutes before Michael arrived. Realizing that his father is in danger again, he calls Sonny for help, moves his dad to another room, and goes outside to watch the entrance. Michael gets help from Enzo the baker, who came to the hospital to pay his respects. They bluff Sollozzo's men as they drive by. Then, police cars show up with the corrupt Captain McCluskey. He punches Michael and breaks his jaw when Michael hints that Sollozzo paid McCluskey to harm his father. Hagen arrives with private detective's license to carry guns and takes the injured Michael home. Sonny responds by having Bruno Tattaglia, the eldest son of Don Philip Tattaglia, killed. After the attempt on the Don's life at the hospital, Sollozzo asks to meet with the Corleones, with Captain McCluskey as his bodyguard. When Michael volunteers to kill both men during the meeting, Sonny and the other senior family members are surprised. However, Michael convinces them that it's necessary for the family's interests. It's not personal. It's strictly business. Since Michael is seen as not involved in criminal matters, he won't be seen as suspicious. Michael meets with Clemenza, who gives him a small gun and covers the trigger and handle with tape to avoid leaving fingerprints. Clemenza tells Michael how to do the job and advises him to leave the gun behind. Clemenza believes that wars between the Mafia families are necessary every few years to get rid of ambition and resentment. The plan is to have the Corleone informants find out where the meeting will take place and put the gun there before Michael, Sollozzo, and McCluskey arrive. Sonny tells Michael not to say goodbye to Kay before he goes to the meeting. At the meeting in a small Italian restaurant in the Bronx, McCluskey searches Michael for weapons but doesn't find any. After a while of talking with Sollozzo in Italian, Michael excuses himself to go to the bathroom. He retrieves the hidden gun there and returns to the table, where he shoots and kills Sollozzo and then McCluskey. Michael goes into hiding in Sicily while the Corleone family prepares for a big war against the other 5 Mafia families, who are all against the Corleones. The police and government are also cracking down on the mob. 3 months later, when Don Corleone comes home from the hospital, he's upset to find out that it was Michael who killed Sollozzo and McCluskey. Meanwhile, Connie and Carlo's marriage is falling apart. They argue a lot about Carlo's suspected cheating and his controlling behavior. By Italian tradition, even a high-ranking Mafia boss can't interfere in a married couple's personal problems, even if it involves cheating, money, or abuse. One day, Sonny sees a bruise on Connie's face, and she tells him that Carlo hit her after she asked him if he was having an affair. Sonny finds Carlo and beats him up in public for hurting the pregnant Connie. He threatens to kill Carlo if he ever hurts Connie again. Later on, Carlo tricks Connie into telling him that he won't meet one of his girlfriends tonight. Connie gets angry and throws their dinner plates around the dining room and kitchen. Carlo takes advantage of the situation and beats Connie to make Sonny angry and leave the Corleone family's safe place. When Connie calls the family compound to tell Sonny that Carlo hurt her again, Sonny gets furious and drives off alone to confront Carlo. On the way to Connie and Carlo's house, Sonny is attacked at a toll booth on the Long Island Causeway and killed by several hitmen with machine guns. Tom Hagen tells the Don about Sonny's murder. The Don asks Bonacera, a mortician, for a favor to take care of Sonny's body. Instead of seeking revenge for Sonny's death, the Don meets with the leaders of the other Mafia families to make a truce. The ongoing conflict is draining their resources and putting Michael in danger. The Don changes his mind and agrees that the Corleone family will protect Tattaglia's business, as long as it's controlled and doesn't harm children. During the meeting, the Don figures out that Don Barzini, not Tattaglia, was behind the mob war and Sonny's death, even though he's starting to show signs of aging. In Sicily, Michael waits in exile, protected by Don Tomasino, an old family friend. Michael roams the countryside with his bodyguards, Carlo and Fabrizio. He falls in love with Apollonia Vitelli, the daughter of a bar owner, and they get married in the traditional Sicilian way. But Michael's enemies find out where he is. One day, while Michael is teaching Apollonia to drive, Tomasino tells him about Sonny's assassination and wants to move Michael to a safer place. As they are about to leave, Apollonia is killed when a car bomb meant for Michael explodes. Over a year later, in 1950, he reconnects with his former girlfriend Kay after being apart for 4 years, 3 in Italy and 1 in America. He tells her he wants to marry her. Although Kay is hurt that he took so long to reach out, she says yes to his proposal. With Don Vito partially retired, Sonny gone, and Fredo not seen as capable of running the family business, Michael is now in charge. He plans to move the family's operations to Nevada. Tom Hagen has been demoted from being the family's counselor, and is now just the family's lawyer, with Vito taking on the counselor role. About a year later, Michael goes to Las Vegas and meets with Mo Green, a wealthy casino boss looking to expand his business. After the Don's assassination attempt, Fredo had been sent to Las Vegas to learn about the casino business from Green. Michael tries to buy out Green but is rudely turned down. Green thinks the Corleones are weak and can get a better deal from Brazi. During their heated negotiation, Fredo supports Green. After Green storms out, Michael warns Fredo never to take sides against the family again. Michael comes back home. In private, Vito tells Michael that he expects their enemies will try to kill him by setting up a meeting as an excuse for murder. Some months later, Vito collapses and dies while playing with his grandson Anthony in the tomato garden. During the funeral, Tessio suggests a meeting with Brazi, which confirms that Tessio is the traitor Vito had anticipated. Kay asks Michael to be the godfather to Connie and Carlo's baby son. Michael agrees and uses the opportunity to eliminate rivals from the other 5 families. The murders take place at the same time as the baptism ceremony. Don Strachey and his bodyguard are killed in a hotel elevator by Clemenza. Mo Green is shot in the eye and killed during a massage. Don Cuneo is trapped in a revolving door at the St. Regis Hotel and shot dead by a man named Willie Chichi. Don Tatalia is killed in bed. Don Barzini is shot on the steps of his office along with his bodyguard and driver. After the baptism ceremony, Tessio thinks he's going to a meeting between Michael and Barzini, which he arranged. But he's actually surrounded by Willie Chichi and other gang members while Hagen steps aside. Tessio is taken away and never seen again. Meanwhile, Michael confronts Carlo about Sonny's murder and makes him admit he helped set up the attack because Barzini told him to. Michael tells Carlo he won't be killed but is banned from family business. He gives Carlo a plane ticket to Las Vegas. However, when Carlo gets into the car to the airport, Clemenza garrotes him to death on Michael's orders. Later, Connie accuses Michael of killing Carlo for hurting her and possibly being part of Sonny's murder. She thinks Michael waited until their father died so he wouldn't stop him. Kay questions Michael about it, but he lies and says he had nothing to do with Carlo's death. Kay believes him. The movie ends with Clemenza, Rocco Lampuan, and Al Neri arriving to pay their respects to Michael. Clemenza kisses Michael's hand and calls him Don Corleone. Kay watches as the office door is closed.